Your Majesty, a tactical analysis of the Battle of the Two Rivers. What was, what will be, and what is may yet be spoiled by this report, which contains major spoilers for Season 3, Episode 7 of this turning of the Wheel of Time. The Battle of the Two Rivers was a battle recently fought in and around the village called the Two Rivers, in a mountainous portion of western Andor. The attacking force was an army of Trollocs and Darkfriends, under the command of Paddan Fain. The defending force was a group of ill-trained villagers from the Two Rivers, led by Perrin Aebara, now styled as Lord Golden Eyes, and, later on, a group of White Cloaks under the command of Senior Lieutenant Dane Bornhold. Fain's objectives were simple: the total destruction of the Two Rivers. Golden Eyes and the people of the Two Rivers survived and prevailed, however, because Fain underestimated Golden Eyes' combat power and, most decisively, lost access mid-battle to near unlimited reinforcements through the Waygate at the ruins of Manetheren. Fain and the initial body of Darkfriend attackers had infiltrated the White Cloaks days before the battle. I suspect he did so with the intent to use them to gain freedom of movement into the village from the beginning. GoldenEye's strategy, though, would frustrate his intended timeline and force him to adapt and improvise. To facilitate his intended goal, Fain ensured his main body of attackers travelled on the high-speed avenue of approach from the Waygate to the village, and carried torches, even though it was not yet fully dark, making them highly visible and emphasizing his numerical advantage. This had a powerful psychological effect on GoldenEye's forces while also drawing attention solely to the main body and away from other, less obvious threats. Fain likely hoped the sight of the attacking force would lead GoldenEye to immediately entrench his position inside the village palisade and seek aid from Bornhold. Rather than simply sending his forces into the teeth of the village defences, Fain devised a ruse that would allow him to bypass them entirely, in which he would gradually persuade Bornhold it was, in fact, the right thing to aid GoldenEye in defending the villages from the impending Trolloc attack. This would naturally prompt GoldenEye to open the gate for the White Cloaks to enter once they arrived. Fain likely would have sought to have his main body of Trollocs follow closely behind the White Cloaks, and, rather than Fain's Darkfriends posing as White Cloaks getting inside the gate just in time to close it and fight the Trollocs, they would hold the gate open just in time for the main body to arrive, mass at the gate, and push their way to the interior of the village, all while more reinforcements poured out of the Waygate in the mountains. Fain likely assumed several things. He likely dismissed White Cloak's statements about the Two Rivers folk having a full Aes Sedai of the Battle Ogier with them as exaggerations. He likely thought that no one in the Two Rivers would recognize him quickly enough to make any difference, what with his much shorter hair and being dressed as a White Cloak rather than a peddler. Most critically, he never imagined that he would be unable to receive continuous reinforcements from the Waygate. Many of Fain's assumptions, however, proved blessedly incorrect. GoldenEye's strategy in response to Fain's initial moves was straightforward: a defense in depth designed to hold off the Trollocs for as long as possible, first at a key mountain pass. Using area denial obstacles and the natural canalizing effect of the terrain, he created a killing zone for his ranged capabilities, namely Two Rivers longbows and a Aes Sedai of the Green Ogier, linked with local channelers. Holding or even simply slowing the Trollocs at this choke point was critical, because only at the pass could GoldenEye's forces maintain a compact, clean forward line of troops, in an area with high-speed avenues of approach that would be difficult to break. Compare this to the village, where the area in front of the palisade is one huge high-speed avenue of approach, and riddled with salients that would easily allow the Trollocs to mass in one location and quickly break the line, even with the gates shut. Also, to maximize protections for the village itself, GoldenEye prepared numerous bottle bombs, identified positions for snipers to take on rooftops throughout the village once the battle began, and added additional area denial obstacles in the open field between the tree line and the hastily erected wooden palisade. Critically, GoldenEye had dispatched an elite raiding party led by an Ogier named Loyal, and two Aiel Maidens of the Spear, Bane and Chiad, to close the Waygate and deny Fain additional reinforcements for the battle. Fain reacted effectively to many aspects of GoldenEye's plan by implementing uncomplicated yet difficult-to-execute countermeasures, some of which were forced by Bornhold's actions. Specifically, Bornhold meeting with GoldenEye at the pass well before the battle, and refusing to help GoldenEye forced Fain to conduct a costly frontal assault against the defences at the pass, rather than use Bornhold to circumvent them. Once GoldenEye sprung his trap, and Aes Sedai rained jagged hail down on the Trollocs and Darkfriends, they sustained heavy losses, and were forced to conduct a tactical retreat. At the same time, GoldenEye's raiding party reached the Waygate and began attacking its guards. At this critical moment, when everything was going GoldenEye's way, was when Fane exploited his intimate familiarity of the Two Rivers terrain to expertly adjust his plans. GoldenEye's preoccupation with the high-speed avenue of approach allowed Trollocs sent on wide flanking maneuvers through the highly unforgiving, hilly, wooded terrain surrounding the village to go unnoticed until it was too late. One such attacker removed Aes Sedai from the battlefield, ensuring GoldenEye would be unable to hold the pass for long, and forcing him to fall back to the village palisade, allowing the Trollocs to advance closer to the village. With the Aes Sedai off the board and GoldenEye holed up behind the village palisade, Fane could return to a course of action similar to his likely original plan. But, because the Trollocs were now beyond the pass, he had them take concealment in the forest between the pass and the village, and wait. Now he used his silver tongue to convince Bornhold that helping GoldenEye was the right thing to do. As soon as the Whitecloaks passed the Trollocs by without detecting them, they snuck out behind them and followed close. Fane continued exploiting Bornhold's misplaced trust in him, right up until the moment when he gained access to the inside of the palisade without resistance. Then, Fane executed his plans exactly as he likely originally intended, to nearly decisive effect. It is cold comfort that Bornhold's Whitecloaks bore the brunt of the first wave of Trollocs, since they were standing next to Fane's Darkfriends posing as Whitecloaks. Even though his men were the first to pay the price for his error in judgment, the Two Rivers folk paid their fair share of the butcher's bill by the end of it all. Almost all of GoldenEye's area denial obstacles in the open field proved pointless, as Trollocs and Darkfriends simply poured in through the open gate. Thankfully, those bottle bombs were useful against all the Trollocs pressed up against each other, waiting to get to the gate to rush inside. Deprived of all their defensive advantages, and fresh enemy reinforcements inbound, the people of the lands of Manetheren were once more on the brink of extinction. But then, Loyal, son of Arendt, son of Halam, the leader of the raiding party, decisively sacrificed himself to not simply lock the waygate, but permanently sever its connection from the ways entirely. With Fane's forces now stuck too close to parity with GoldenEye's and Bornhold's combined numbers, his chances at victory evaporated. Fane had been counting on additional Trollocs to ensure he held an overwhelming numerical advantage, so he could complete his genocide of GoldenEye's people. But, with the prospect of reinforcements gone, and GoldenEye's axe at his throat, Fane saw that the wheel was on the brink of severing his thread. GoldenEye compelled him to call off his forces on pain of death, and Fane fled with his subordinate Trollocs and Darkfriends out of the Two Rivers, to the great relief and thrill of the people of the Two Rivers. However, this was not the end, for as your Majesty well knows, there are neither beginnings nor endings to the turning of the Wheel of Time. Our eyes and ears report that GoldenEye surrendered himself to Bornhold the morning after the battle, to pay some unspecified, unmet debt. If GoldenEye's people were angry, Aiel Bashir, the Saldaean we mentioned in a previous report, was furious. He seemed completely disinterested in seeking to stake a claim over the lands of the Two Rivers at Lord GoldenEye's departure, and far more interested in dragging him away from the Whitecloaks by the scruff of his neck. I suspect this is not the last we shall hear of Perrin GoldenEye, Lord of the Two Rivers, in no small part because of the Bashir girl. Perhaps GoldenEye is a loyal subject of Andor, and would willingly submit to being your Majesty's vassal, nicely cleaning up the previously discussed Saldaean question once and for all. Your Majesty, this concludes our report. Forward the White Line of Andor. My ladies and lords of the Westlands, Aiel and clan chiefs, rulers from sundry lands, if you find the reports my clerks and I produce to be helpful as you labour in the service of your people, do honour us with your raised thumbs, patronage, and subscriptions. Until our next report.